Yeah. Let's take a break from level 5. Showing off the game's instruction manual would have been more suitable, beneficial, toward the beginning of the series, as opposed to near the end, but the idea is they come to me at their own speed. Let's get on with it. The object of the game. You couldn't figure that out. You start with a shuriken 400 and $1,000, and you begin in the squid tank, and you race to try and become a Rash Master by qualifying all tracks at level 5. Descriptions of the various options, like in Mano a Mano, where money is no object, you and your opponent can race alone, picking any bike you desire, and starting with a weapon. The password functionality, the user interface with racing, how to fight people, what happens after you race, how you can lose the game. The bike shop, which doesn't have hard numbers about everything, but provides a brief description of what each bike can do. That also appears, of course, in the shop as well in the game. I am unfamiliar with bikes and racing, so I couldn't tell you whether these are legit bikes, whether they're based off legit bikes, whether the bikes come from Narnia. I could have done like a data search, like cruise through Google or whatever before this video. It's never been pertinent to me. Just not my focus, not my interest. We have the 5 tracks. First in Hawaii, named after the treacherous currents off Diamond Head, brutal hairpin turns and radical changes in elevation make this one of the more difficult tracks on the circuit. You may want a quick, light bike to flick into the hairpin corners. Which is not our Diablo. It's definitely quick, but light, We've got Arizona. Beware of the ghost-like rock formation standing silent along the roadside. Songs of the spirits may lure you off the road, and if they don't, the oil and debris will lure you to the road. Stay out of the sand and watch out for the abandoned cars in the road. In Tennessee, through Tennessee's misty range. This winding course has enough gradual turns and steep grades to make even a biker nauseous. Deer and cows freeze in the middle of the road when they hear the roar of your bike. Likewise, the locals in their autos won't flinch. And the cops, well, they're just plain down-home vicious. Alaska? Travel the rugged frontier trail at unnatural speeds. Because of the blind turns and shifting grades, this course is one of the more difficult of the circuit. The pine trees are dangerously close to the road. Watch for oil derricks, mule deer, and caribou. And finally, Vermont. Nothing like a relaxing ride to the New England countryside. But when you're fighting for traction at 150 miles per hour, the scenery doesn't count for much. One of the fastest courses on the circuit, Maple Run is characterized by gradual turns and long straightaways. Ideal for a big, fast bike. And then, the prominent rashers, as opposed to folks like Slug and Rude Boy. Kakana, a descendant of King Kamehameha. His childhood was steeped in ancient myth. He was treated like royalty, but the Big Island just wasn't big enough. He was called to the mainland to race the most dangerous circuit since the outrigger regattas? Regattas? I'm gonna look up that word later. Of his great-great-grandfather's day. A disciplined spirit, his entire existence is focused on victory. Nonetheless, he's a fair and easygoing player, and he'll go out of his way to help you out. Slater. A wild man from head to toe, this kid set a world skateboard speed record wearing nothing but a tense grin. His moment of truth came early one morning when he skated alongside a biker who had just tried to run him off the road. He jerked him off the seat, hopped on, and sped into the sunset. Goodbye, skateboard. Hello, wheelie heaven. Skater's way radical. His wealth of local knowledge and sarcastic shtick make him one of the most sought-after contacts on the tour. We have Mr. Lawson. Meet the man of the 90s. Beautiful wife, beautiful home, enormous debt. An insurance lawyer at LA's most prestigious firm, he takes out his pent-up rage on unsuspecting weekend racers. Don't tell him he's a yuppie. Don't call him by his first name. This dude has no mercy. He'll lie and cheat like there's no tomorrow. With guys like him around, there may not be. An insurance lawyer at LA's most prestigious firm. As one does. We've got Biff. Daddy bought him a Diablo for high school graduation. Biff cruised Harvard Square without a helmet just to mock the local cops who dared to pull him over. Bucking for a desk job, he'd jeer, tearing up a ticket. Now he travels the country crashing Road Rash events, flashing his cheesy grin and lapping at his trust fund like a fat cat from a bottomless bowl of milk. This guy is a waste product of the 80s. He looks out for no one but himself. Akira, in his native Japan, there is only one god, Elvis. Akira is so devoted that over the years he has come to resemble the king. Raised on 2 strokes on the crowded streets of Tokyo, he was known to ride up on the sidewalks when traffic got thick, smiling apologetically as he upset strollers and crashed through fruit stands. Caught between 2 worlds, Akira has the rare combination of genuine virtue and a burning desire to win. A good friend to have. Public enemy number 1? She saw her first punk show at 5 years old. At 13, she was tattooed black from the waist down. By her 18th birthday, she had 143 piercings. And after being exiled from the United Kingdom, trafficking arms in Central America, and designing anarchist bumper stickers in Tangiers, this nasty Brit gave herself to the love of her life. Violence. Colder than a drawer in a morgue, she'll brutally attack anyone or anything in her way, with absolutely no regard to her own personal well-being. Watch out. Warhammer, whom has never appeared after any of our vignettes. San Francisco's hardest hitter, this 6'6", 240-pound screamer heads the metal band Socket Mouth, whose albums were banned worldwide. His stage show is a modern Gomorrah, and after a week of swallowing blowfish, smearing himself with elephant dung, and rolling in razor wire, the war dude likes to kick back at 180 miles per hour and wreak havoc. A crazed on-life health nut, his high-impact, out-of-control agenda has no room for peace of mind. Though he was once spotted sitting idly in a lawn chair while his kids arranged refrigerator magnets on his forehead. Chino. Born to ride a chopper, this crusty, stinking face crusher turned a sport bike so he could compete in Road Rash events. The most seasoned rider of the bunch, he'll do anything for you if you befriend him, but he'll make life short if you get on his bad side. Legend tells that when he busted out of San Quentin, he hot-wired a police bike and roared into the desert. A 1-car chase ensued, and when the cruiser flipped off the road, Chino circled back to the wreckage and put his fist through the windshield. Through the haze of radiator steam, he looked into the blank eyes of the trooper and whispered, "Brother, I'll see you in hell." Then you've got Jorg and Sven, the Godfredsen twins. I don't know about that one. It beats me. Just guess on how to pronounce that. After losing their dirt track licenses for excessive whining, the sinister duo moved their operation stateside. Unable to find sponsors, they turned to illegal circuits where their alien status was overlooked. Jorg seems pleasant enough, but he's one of the nastiest guys in the track. Just tell him he looks like Sven. And Sven doesn't even pretend to be nice. Like his brother, he spent most of his life trying to distinguish himself, and he just never seems satisfied. All mutual hostility aside, the pair is bonded by meanness, and they'll team up on lesser opponents, if only to express their hatred for each other. We've got Roz, reared in the balmy island breezes of the Caribbean, or Caribbean if you prefer. This peasant girl got her first taste of survival cycling in the bullet-shorn alleys of Trenchtown. Leader of the street gang Liquid Angels, Ride was immortalized in local... Wow. Grimith.exe just stopped working there. Right. Ride was immortalized for her daring chicken passes and mastery of... Right, so... Roz, knows black magic. And after fighting her way from the ghetto, Ride worked as a bicycler messenger in Manhattan. Craving speed and excitement, she bought an old shuriken, souped it up, and headed for California. She's both wise and helpful, and she'll back any underdog who takes on the system. And finally, we have Natasha, the crown princess of the circuit. This red-haired beauty has seen it all. She had her first bike at 3. At 15, she was a regular winner at the local junior circuit, but after a few years in the spotlight, she fell into some bad company. She quit racing and supported her boyfriend, who was an up-and-coming Grand Prix phenom. After being indicted on charges of sabotage and reckless endangerment of lives, for allegedly tampering with the bike of her husband's competitor before a race, she went underground, emerging only to bust heads at Road Rash events. She's cool and generous, but if you turn on her, you're asking for a world of hurt. And then we have the Fuzz. Marshall, an orphan raised in Los Angeles. Marshall is the meanest, toughest cop around. He'll hit the road if he knows you'll bring down a rasher. All he talks about is his gun. Word is he became a cop so he could bust his priest. Kelly, a passive, non-confrontational, sickeningly sincere rookie. Sickeningly. He went to college to become a social worker. but his father made him become a cop. He talks like a baby gumming milquetoast. Most annoyingly, he tries his hardest to help you get your life together. Ortega, a guy just doing his job. This straight-ahead lawman conducts each bus like a minor business deal. His no-frills approach to his job make him one of the most tolerable cops around. No attitude, no vengeance, no problem. Rourke? Graham spent 18 years as a sergeant at Fort Dix before becoming a cop. An anal, compulsive stickler for details, he once ticketed a guy for looking left, right, left on a one-way street. If you think you'll run into this character, make sure your papers are in order. And finally, O'Connor. An in-your-face kind of gal, this babe was conceived on the wrong side of the bed. She lives with 21 huskies in a cabin in Alaska, and she rides her bike 3 hours to work just so she can dole out tickets to tourists. She cannot deal with 20th century life, and she's not shy about it. It's a good thing we're in the 21st century now, right everyone? Wink. And we have a couple pages for passwords. There you go! Road Rash, the instruction manual. Coming up next time, I'll get my ass handed to me. Again. Hooray. That's joyous and exciting and wonderful. Now, before we end our time together, let's take a couple moments here. While I have you all.
Regatta.
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 Great. Next up, we have patois. Patois.
Patois.
Patois.
Patois.
Patois.
Patois.
Patois. Right. Okay. And then, finally, Obeah. Obeah.
Obia.
Obia.
Obi.
Obi. Understood. Very good. I'm glad we all could learn together as a very loosely designated family. Who's your favorite Rasher? Write down in the comments below. Take care, everyone.